All right, welcome to our first shift here in Docked. It's a port operations simulator from Saber Interactive, the same team behind SnowRunner and RoadCraft. The full game drops in just a few days, so let's see what we're getting ourselves into.
Tom, there's a container ship at the pier. Barely made it here. Took heavy damage in the storm and is still taking on water. It also has some dangerous cargo on deck. So get on the STS crane and get it off there. You remember STS, right?
Ship to shore, Dad. Yes, I remember. I'm on it.
Tommy, those containers on top have got to go. The ship is listing pretty badly.
Got it.
All right, so I'm liking the urgency. They got the ship is basically taking on some water from the storm damage. Hurricane Wendy coming in. We need to get into this STS crane and start unloading some of the cargo. We're going to kind of worry about more of the hazardous material that's on there.
Tom, the weather's getting worse, so turn on the crane lights just in case.
All right.
Also, the boom's been known to freeze while lowering.
Thanks for the heads up. I'll use the upper booth to keep an eye on it. I'm going up.
Good.
I don't know why, but we'll just shut the doors behind us. All right, we got the lights on. Gonna be heading up. I believe we got to head up to the 4th level. Yeah, 4. Ah, finally made it. I guess I would take the elevator any day over walking up those steps. We are a long ways way up here, and wow. Would you look at that? Look at that mess that we got to clean up. Looks like we got to go this way. And like I said in the intro, this game is made by Saber, the same dev team that made SnowRunner and RoadCraft. This one's got a lot of identical situations to it, similar to the RoadCraft, where there's characters and things like that that I've recently played. Looks like we need to go into here and turn some power onto something. Alright, lower the boom. Let's get that done.
Hey, Tommy, how do you like being back?
It's like I never left.
Ah, good. How about a little party tonight at Jay's to celebrate your return?
If you're buying.
For my favorite musician and best friend who's been away for ages? Of course.
Yes, it's been a while. Missed you too.
See you there.
Alright, well that's the big like lift arm that get folded out. Now looks like we need to go across the catwalk to the other side. This game is looking pretty good so far. And I know we've only just not even minutes into this game. Now this game, Docked, is a single player game. The only thing that I think would make this game better at this point in time would the ability to have multiplayer. And the ability to hopefully have some dual joystick controls. You can play this with an Xbox controller, is what I've played it with. controls are a little bit different. I prefer on mouse and key at this point in time, but let's get into the seat and see what we can do. Alright, so it looks like we got lots of controls on the left-hand side, but we need to start the engine first by holding B. Alright, we got that on.
Welcome to the STS crane training program. To start, position the cab over the desired container.
Okay.
Hey, how do I shut this stupid voice off?
You don't. I turned it on to refresh your memory after the long break.
Okay.
Alright, so let's go over and grab this container. Let's maybe shift. There we go. Shift views for you guys there.
Configured to grab standard 20-foot containers. In your manual, they are also referred to as TEUs, or 20-foot equivalent units. To lift the container using the twist locks, you must lower the clamps directly into the container slots and secure it.
Alright, so the cool thing is you got the down to the bottom left, center, and bottom right. Everything is kind of turning green on them. So you get to drop them in place.
The outline on your crane's MFD is filled green. The yellow and red lights are on, indicating that the container is ready for gripping.
Alright, so it looks like we're ready for gripping. So we're going to close everything up,
Just be careful
lift it
there.
up,
Those
and
containers
bring
have
this
some
back
nasty stuff
to
inside.
center.
One puncture and we'll never hear the end of it.
Don't worry. I'll be careful.
I promise I'll be careful. I promise I'll be careful. Alright.
Now carefully lower the container. When you reach the target height, release the twist locks.
Okay, so we got to drop this down into this yellow marker here.
Don't pop the locks open prematurely. This may result in an emergency. The green and yellow lights together indicate that the container is stable. You can now release the twist locks.
Alright, well, let's release that one. This one's down to safety and be ready to pick up. Well, let's get that thing picked back up. Let's go hop into first person mode and see if we can get this thing this direction. Alright, so we need to go over by pick up this, looks like a little bit larger, like a 40-foot hazardous waste container that we need to get off the ship. Is there a way to turn lights on in this thing? Maybe you don't want lights on in this thing. Oh well, good enough. Alright, let's lower this thing down. There we go. We need to open up our spreaders. Let's see if we can get this thing set.
You need to extend the spreader to grab a 40-foot or a double TEU container.
What would I do without you?
Oh, like a glove. Get it on the first try. Heck yeah. Alright,
Tommy,
up we go.
If you're not done yet, you better hurry. That storm is gonna hit any minute now.
You're right on time. I'm all but done.
Yeah.
Didn't even turn my port into a disaster zone. Not bad.
Yeah, I'll be gone before I get a chance to disappoint you.
Or you could stay and not disappoint me.
All right. Think about that.
That's my boy.
Alright, well, you heard the old man that we gotta get this stuff all the way over. So it wasn't too terribly hard. Don't want to go that way. We're gonna crash into something. But you most definitely are able to do this first person mode, which is pretty cool. A lot with the help of the helper control windows right below you for when you're hooking up to things. All right, look at that. Got that done. Yeah.
Are you in already?
Yes, Dad. This place is a mess.
You're telling me? I'm just starting to tally up the damage. We're lucky at least some of our stuff is still okay.
All right, so it looks like we need to use the reach stacker to complete the task. We need to go and grab this 20-foot cargo or 20-foot container. First, we need to grab this 20-foot container, okay? And then next, we need to grab it looks like a 40-foot tank. So let's get into it and let's see what happens. And looks like we got to deliver it. Need to deliver it to a specific spot.
I'm ready to go.
Good. Now get those containers to the free lot. Gently.
Yeah, I remember. One puncture and we'll never hear the end of it.
Yep, something like that.
Nice.
So I do like the fact that you can actually walk around in this game. And as we hit tab, there's other things like a scanner that you can pull up that's not available to us. So I'd imagine there at some point you have to scan cargo equipment and things like that. But let's get into this thing and see how it operates. All right, so you do have to start it up. We got to hold B again. Okay, everything's going. Now we need to hit tab. All right, so these are your options to open up your spreader and things like that. You do get the options to physically turn on your wiper. Nice. So it doesn't automatically turn on. Let's turn those off because we don't need them. And you got lights. It looks like you got low beams, and then you got turn on headlights and working lights. So let's turn on the working lights, even though we might not need it. So we need to go into drive mode is what it was telling us to do. Let's hide on out so that way you guys can see this view. All right, so we need to go to that 20-foot container initially and get things back to that little spot to get dropped off. Now you can play this with controller. I am just playing this on mouse and keyboard right now.
Hey, Tommy, that you driving the reach stacker right now?
Yeah, it's me, all right.
Great. Can you check if I left my player on the dash?
Wow, you're still using that thing.
Of course, it was Dad's. His taste in music wasn't as good as mine, though.
Well, I don't see it on the dash.
So you kept the recording, too?
Come on, when you make it big, I'm running your fan club. I'm dead serious, though. Your music's good. I just wish there were more than 2 people who knew about it. So I put together a little video with yesterday's cam feeds and your music and posted it online.
Well, tell me if it gets any views. Anyways, gotta get back to work.
Good luck.
All right, we're coming up to the storage or the first tank. Looks like it just wants us to get into this particular spot. All right, so we got left. All right, so we got control and shift. So shift brings the boom out. And same thing, just like the docking. You can use the cheats down below. That will help you get things. All right, so that only goes so far. So we're going to have to move again. Now, I'm not quite sure because the parking brake's on there. Maybe. So C and Z can move everything over. All right, then we grab it. There we go. All right, need to pick that back up. Need to get everything back in, although because we don't want to have it too far out. I would imagine the physics on this game actually matter. So if we had this thing boomed up all the way, it's going to be heavy, right? That's what I'm thinking. So that's the good thing about this demo is you can kind of jump in here. I know there's only about 4 days as of the recording of this video. But there's only about 4 days before the game actually releases, but kind of gives you some time to hop in. Maybe it is a free demo on Steam. That there is the possibility that you can get around and mess around with this thing. Okay, so you can press X or the middle mouse wheel. Drop it right there.
First container is in place. I'm going for the second.
Good. Keep the pace.
So I could imagine things could get kind of tight in here when you swinging some of the stuff around when you got the big 40-foot containers. Like this one. This one's going to be a 40-foot tank, so this is where we could probably see how everything maneuvers in here. So let's get this thing attached. Let's get this thing picked up.
Looks like I'll have to tilt the spreader to pick this one up.
Okay, so we got to tilt the spreader. So we're going to go down. And to tilt is C and G and T. Got that one. Fairly easy.
So you've moved most of the critical
Oh yeah.
cargo.
So you can see
Yep,
how I
I'm
had
on
that
the
thing
last
out
one.
further,
Great. Bring it
and
over and take a break.
it was
I guess it's good to have
it
you
was
back.
lifting up the back end of it. So
Good to see you too.
all right. So now we got to figure out how we're gonna get this thing out of here. We'll turn, obviously. All right. Let's just lift this up and over. Now this is where we could actually have some issues, right? Gonna have to make sure how we... Okay, just gotta take it slow. Looks like it's high enough. Do need to be careful. We don't want this tank blowing up. All right, tank number 2 done. Nice. All right, so we get to use the same reach stacker, but we need to take A and B, it looks like, to shipyard. Unload 2 containers from yard H. And take it to, looks like some trains over here. Railway line. All right. Doesn't seem too terribly hard, does it? This game does look gorgeous. All right, so now we got the engine started. We need to hit tab. Let's turn the lights all on and get the driving mode. There we go. Okay. I think we're going to go for A first because it looks like B is stuck underneath another cargo unit. Better get our outrigger stretched out. And it looks like we might need to probably shift over, and then let's get this thing a little bit of a tilt that way. All right, looks like we're all ready to hooked up, so let's get this up in the air. All right, so I think we're gonna want to back out. Then we'll go forward, and then let's hit X to recenter our cargo unit. Let's try a little first-person mode, shall we? See how well this looks. We could pull that out of the way. There we go. Gives you a little bit better view. Ah, this game actually feels good. It actually feels like a good game. And I know this is the demo, but I'm kind of excited, optimistic that this game is going to be kind of very playable, I feel. It's going to be nice to have some rewards and some things like that, like a progression style to this game and things being more challenging. So we're just going to have to wait and see how everything plays out when the game comes out. But again, I just really wanted to get this out there to see what kind of feelers we have. In the beginning of this video, like I said, this game is actually created by the same creators that made SnowRunner. And if you really wanted the challenge, you could do this whole thing in first-person mode, which that would be pretty crazy to be able to do. All right, so let's pop back out. That way we give you guys your visual. All right, so let's lift this thing all the way up in the air, as high as we can. Let's try to get this thing squared off the best we can, because ultimately that's going to be the easiest of them all to do, right? And we'll just make sure. All right, time to boom out and lower at the same time. So it is nice because they do give you the little cheat thing down at the bottom, so that's nice. All right, so it shows green. Everything shows green. So if it's off kilter, it won't let you detach it. Or you actually can. I bet you cannot detach it. Do we want to try it? I don't know if we want to. Let's try not to. All right, let's get this back in. We don't need that thing sticking up that high. And let's go grab that second one. Now, the second one's going to take, I think, a little bit more because there was one stacked up on top of it. So that's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Now, I'm not quite sure. Maybe somebody in the comment section can help us out here, but I think you can like hire people or hire things to kind of keep the production and everything moving. So I don't know, like, when the game is fully released, if it's going to, you know, if there'll be more vehicles and cargo movers and things like that out and about in the shipyard. So that's going to be an interesting thing to find out. All right, so let's go up with this because I think we want this up as high as we can to swivel around. And can we get ourselves weaseled into this spot? All right, we'll lower this thing down, see where we're sitting. Better get the outriggers out. That might help us out quite a bit. Go back down. All right, so we're a little off there, and we're a little off in that spot. All right, looks like we got it, so let's pick that thing up. Get that thing back where we want it. Can we do a complete spin here? Can we just set it right here on this? We'll find out. Now, I'm not quite sure. It says job damage. So I think the job is to actually get... Oh, all right. Well, apparently we just got some job damage. So there's that. Now, I'm thinking more than likely that is going to eventually play a toll in like what you get per job, right? Or damaged good, things like that. I mean, that wasn't the greatest of stacking abilities, but we got that one. Time to move. Don't want to swing and hit that, so let's get this thing up in the air. Alright, so we want to lower this thing down, because the higher that is, the actual harder it is to turn this thing, so that's interesting. So there's some actual weight physics and things like that to this game, which are good. Let's get that thing squared back up. So pressing X gives you... so basically it recenters the shipping container off the center of your boom. Alright, so we gotta go to B, which this one shouldn't be too terribly hard. We can maybe try to do this first person. All right. Let's see. We'll use our guide, right? There we go. Done. Nice. Task number 3 done. Ooh, looks like we got a brand new machine. Straddle carrier. Okay, this will be interesting. So it looks like we need to pick up a 20-foot container and stack it over in this area. That's what we got to do. And then pick up another B container. It looks like a 40-foot container. And stack it on top of that one. Okay. Should be easy enough, shouldn't it?
So, how do you like the new toy, Mark?
She's perfect. I wouldn't dare put a scratch on her.
No need to worry too much. Just be careful and do your job.
I'm on it, boss.
All right. Well, apparently we got to be careful. So there is different views on here. If you guys are inclined to play this game, you know, realistically, you have that option. I think it would be very hard, in my opinion, because I don't do this in real life, obviously, but this could be very, very difficult.
You did start. That's a relief. Can you check if the spreader works now?
Sure.
All right, let's check if the spreader works.
Great.
Spreader works. All right, that's working. Up and down, that's all working. Perfect. Up and down. All right, so now we need to slide that thing. Shift. E and Q rotates. And then let's press X to make sure it all goes back to the center. Perfect. All right, so now it's saying press Y to rotate the seat. Okay, so it's rotating my seat inside. If you guys can, if I can get an angle here for you. Rotating the seat inside, which is good. So I'm assuming one's for driving, right? One's for drive mode, or can you drive it? So you can still drive it like this, but Y gives you more of the front view. So let's take a look. Oops, sorry about that. Let's there we go. Front view. Now we're driving that sucker. All right, so we need to go and I think grab the one off of the semi over here. Kind of a ways up here. Holy cows. This thing is pretty cool though. Pretty cool. All right, let's get this task done. All right, so we can straddle that thing just perfect. This is a 20-footer, so we don't need to really stretch out our spreaders on that. So let's check out these other views. So the view gets a little bit closer, which is kind of cool. I do like that. So now we're locked in. Let's drop this down a little bit more. There we go. Now we're locked in. All right, now we need to pick this thing up because we do not want to take off the muffler stack on that semi. They would not be very happy. Okay, well, I would imagine. Whoa, whoa, whoa! What just happened there? Wait a second. Hold on, guys. Let me see if I can get into a better angle for you. All right, watch the wheels. Those wheels. Woo! I could see tipping this thing over very easily, but those wheels actually are conforming to the junk that's on there. Let's maybe drive this thing with it a little bit lower. Obviously, the lower to the ground, the more stable I would assume this thing is. Okay, looks like we need to just straddle all of this. Make sure that we're set up high enough for this, that we don't try to find the right view for everybody. There we go. All right, we're coming up to... There we go. Straight down, I'm thinking. Oh yeah. All right. It will be kind of interesting to see if you drop something that's maybe not perfect, if there's like docked points, things like that you could potentially get. Maybe has different difficulties that you can choose from. Yeah, I think this game could be something we do, guys. Let me know down in the comments section. It does look like there's even like the railing down here that's set up. Drivable portions of like roads and whatnot. All right, looks like we need to take a right hand. Okay, well, made that corner okay. Oh, we just ran something over. Not quite sure what we ran over, but we ran something over. Okay, so now this is a 40-footer. We gotta get the spreader spread out. All right, well, that one should be fairly easy. Let's get that back over to the other, stacked on top of the other container. Like I said, I think if you had this thing all the way up, you most definitely would cause this thing to have troubles steering and maneuvering because that weight would be so high. This thing is pretty cool. I'm kind of wonder what like other equipment there is in this game. Let's see. Do we need to probably spin around? All right. Aisle D. But we need to go up in the air. And we should be good. Mouse and keyboard is obviously you don't have the fine tuning like you do with a controller, but it's all working. And we'll just get that thing set down. Just like that. All right, just like that, we got all 4 tasks done. The demo was good. We got just like that, guys. We got all 4 of the tasks completed, and I actually had a fun time playing this demo. I know it wasn't a whole lot, but you know, it was something, right? It was something a little bit new, fresh. The concept is going to be very intriguing to me, I think. But you do have quite a bit. If we look over the top of this map, there is quite a bit of different things. They got looks like they have levels to them. Yeah, I think this could be something where you're going to have to like logistically bring something from point A to point B, obviously. So this yard and probably put it on some sort of transit and bring it to the rail yard. So this could be a very cool game. Let me know down in the comments if this is something that you guys think that could be on this channel. Leave a thumbs up. Comment down something what you're excited about. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully we can get this game going here on the channel, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one.